I mean, we still have a loser's bracket to go to. We could possibly see a table Astro round 2 tonight.
We could.
I would pay money to see that. I would pay money.
The run back is always available. You might put money on the table, but chat, you can put channel points on the table as we are doing predictions, and you're more than welcome to put that. There's not much else to do with these points, so you might as well put your money, quote unquote, scrap bucks where your mouth is.
I only just noticed I've been so busy commentating that I've not even gambled once tonight.
Fortunately, there are still plenty more games for some gambling. As a very viral stickman has once said, well, we're not going to say it because that's how you get demonetized. But that won't stop us from having a fantastic match as SNG will be facing off against AyaDarling. SNG 8.
This is one of the sets I have been looking forward to the most tonight. I love both of these players. I'm just going to say it. I love both of them. I just want to adopt them.
They are absolutely beans. Very fantastic people. AyaDarling, currently a very popular... She's doing some really good arms art. Really good Kid Cobra player. One of, surprisingly, even though she is a Clapback Cobra main herself, one of the proponents or like leading forces in wanting to see Clapback Cobra banned, which 07 to that. Very strong player in general.
Relatively new to the scene as well, relative to most of the other players tonight.
Indeed, indeed. And then
SMG, you know him, you love him. He's been really the arms guy on YouTube for years. So I'm looking forward to really getting to see him play.
Needs a little introduction, as you just said. But for those who are unaware, he is a Springman main to the death. And also the core modder to this competitive scene.
Really, when I think about ARMS in 2024, I think 3 people. I think Astro, because obviously. I think SNG, because obviously. And I think Maliv, because obviously. So,
I'm not...
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to say myself. I'm new here.
Oh, he's trying something different here. We got Springtron. He's done this before.
Oh.
It's not that absolutely wild, but especially considering the fact that any good Springman has a pocket Springtron. They're very similar. It's basically Springman to Springtron is like what Sakurai wanted to do with Peach to Daisy.
Absolutely. And I mean, they're not all that different, but they are different enough to where if you are feeling a little bit off that day, that could be a very detrimental change for your set.
Mm-hmm. And it can work out pretty well in situations like DNA Lab is it's a good pick for Springman, but it's a really good pick for Springtron because much of the same reasons that you get those EMP charges or you get those buff up moments with Brass, you get those EMP charges with Springtron.
And we're going into a round 2 with SNG taking that first round there. Aya sticking to a very interesting choice of arms with the Glusher and Scorpion.
That is Misango defaults right there.
Very interesting play for a Kid Cobra main, but I will give it mad props because that is fun and it ain't a shield, so I will drink to that.
A big thing about Glusher too, and I mean, I've been a huge advocate for the Slapamander, but we are finally starting to see the Slapamander be a little... Oh, the double disarm! He's trying to go for the rush confirm off the popper, but he does not get it to connect. Actually gets counter connected.
Oh,
that is 400 damage!
And now we're seeing that slow ticking poison just gradually take off SNG's health. It ain't much, but it does help. Especially in a position where SNG could just get her down to his health level. We will see where this ends up, because SNG's down, but it is very tight, especially now that he has that rush.
Both players on the skin of their teeth. Aya needs to land 2 more hits. Just barely manages to recover her arms, but we do have the EMP off and active because of all this space. And the parabola slithers its way in as SNG claims the dub.
Very fun arm choice for SNG to use. I don't end up seeing a whole lot of parabola or umbrella here in competitive play, so it is fun seeing that little umbrella shield go into work here.
Indeed. Both, honestly, I think they're both really good picks. Parabola, definitely a more off the beaten path kind of tool, but it is very effective. In the right context, it's a great trap. It just, anybody landing down on it, you activate your trap card, they're going to get knocked down, take 100 damage. Or if they dash the wrong way, they get shocked and you can get a grab confirm. Popper, I've already explained, EMP confirms. You hit them with the wind arm, they're flying off to Jupiter. That's plenty of time for you to get your full charge. And really run with the game in those situations. Or you get the rush confirm.
And it's such a hard to evade combo too, because you are going to have that popper coming at you from the front, but that Brella is going to be chasing you from just about anywhere else. It is wherever SNG sends that, and if you're not ready for that, you are getting hit. You are flying to Jupiter.
Indeed, indeed. And it looks like we do have a change up of loadout, as Aya's got the buff cracker, and in the background there is the clapback waiting. So we might see clapback Cobra return for a little bit. But Bub is...
Honestly, that'd be kind of saucy. I would like to see that.
In this situation, I mean, I like the Bub too. This is such a fun arm that is very underutilized. Does not get used nearly as enough, in my opinion. Though that might be for good for the scene, because it is the safest arm in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with how it just has a little bit more curve than what a regular glove would. You know, you do need a little bit more room to make that work, and SNG is just not giving that to her.
Health lead currently in Aya's favor by 50%, now 30% off that charged toaster. SNG playing this super safe and careful. We saw Prince be a very aggressive Springtron. SNG playing Springtron much more to what you would expect a standard Springtron to be. And we are seeing the strengths as to why you might want to do that. And what you can get out of a defensive
He did not want to
Springtron.
pop that rush until it was safe. What we were seeing there was a mind game between the two of them to see who would end up breaking first to be more vulnerable for that rush. But now we're starting with Aya having that full rush gauge, immediately popping to get the hit for 170 and some chip.
Is unable to, kind of gets a little too focused on that tunnel movement. A problem that a lot of players still have to this day, and it's so hard to break. I don't blame anybody who does it, but there's a lot of situations where people just become turrets and they press that rush button, they're like, I need to get all my damage, and they just start mashing. And they forget that, especially in situations like that, you fall down, you need to jump back up to be able to continue getting your pressure, otherwise that corner is going to stop you. Out comes the rush, but that is a toaster knockdown. Aya's going to safely recover. Clean block here. Aya repositioning. We do get a near shield break. SNG is very vulnerable. We do get the disarm. Gets the grab.
And SNG is so close. He is one poke away, and there it is. There it is. We are now on even turf for round 3. This, I think, could really go either way now that those pillars are gone.
Indeed. A lot of what gave SNG the advantage before was those pillars. It made it so it was pretty much guaranteed that he could get those EMPs. Where you're seeing now, he didn't start with an EMP this time because the pillars weren't there to protect him.
And they're so hard for a Cobra to get around too if you are just not effectively able to build up that charge while Springtron is just poking you and applying that pressure. So now that Aya can roam free, it is going to be a bit of a harder game for SNGs. Now Aya has that rush, so we are back in that mind game where they're just seeing who can break first.
Two really good grab punishes. Aya's just getting solid opportunities, baiting SNG into a lot of aggressive plays, a lot of openings that she's been capitalizing on and securing very strong damage as a result. Here's a rush window that is going to put SNG back into the lead, just barely gets the follow-up.
But now Aya is free to get him into one bad position where she can pop that rush and take this whole first set here.
If she gets hit by that toaster, though, that would be death. Does get the hit, but he is
Oh,
just barely out of
but
range.
It's just not enough. Thankfully, because SNG is not playing Springman, what she does not have to deal with right now is that mind game of that last 30% of health.
But she
just
has
needs to
the health
keep up with
disadvantage.
the pressure, maybe get one more chip. And no, it's just not there. SNG was not going to let her get that one last hit.
SNG now 2-0 against Aya. She whiffed, another situation where she just needed to close that distance in just that little bit more, just that pinch more, and she couldn't get it. Also, these players are playing on RNG. Honestly, very bad luck for Aya in these first two games because those are probably two of Springtron's better stages.
For sure, especially against a Cobra. The stage choice there, especially playing a random choice stage, was making it so hard for Aya to move. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that RNG could play to either benefit here in set 3. Because that's either going to set us up for the SNG win or Aya taking it back and we go to round 4. Looks like we're going to Buster, though. This should be a very fun stage for Aya's Cobra.
And it is finally time for Clapback Cobra to step into the field. We got the Clapback, we've got a Cracker. It's time to bust some heads and burn some bodies.
She is done playing with SNG. She is here to win now.
Quickly utilizing shield cancel movement. When that shield is out, this applies to dragons and guardians as well. And technically could be for any arm in the game, as long as the arm is slow enough. But if you walk up to your own arm, you can actually cancel it by touching it. Which is what we saw Aya do twice at the beginning, and it's entirely likely we will see that a few more times.
And she goes for the rush, but SNG just quickly enough shields it. Now he's got full rush. He can easily bring this back to where he is once again at the advantage, but we'll see if he can break through Aya's pressure.
The biggest disadvantage of Clapback Cobra and why so many prefer Popper over Cracker is just the fact that this is one of the harder rushes to land. It's a little bit slower. The Cracker can miss for like wild reasons. The Clapback is fast, but it can take half a second before it's actually going.
And there we have a round 1 for Aya. Just the timing from SNG's EMP there was a little bit off, which let her get in and get that last hit that she needed.
Indeed.
Now we're starting this new round. She has her full rush ready. So I think we're going to see her back SNG into a corner, hit the rush. No, she doesn't need the corner. She does not care about the corner.
She's got him on lock. She's got him scared as she has just burnt through so much of his health. The Clapback has done so much of its job this time around. But now it's SNG's turn. 300 damage, 2 grab reads. He is trying to get the read. He is looking for the moments.
He is looking for the moments, and he is vengeful against that Clapback.
45 seconds left on the clock. It is likely going to be a KO situation. He's got his rush ready. He needs to land it to bring things back. A good jump.
And
manages to get the follow-up.
Now Aya at the health disadvantage, but about to get her rush back with a couple more well-timed hits. There it is. Will she even need it, though? She doesn't. She doesn't care.
I'm going to say she might not have needed it, but the fact that it was there definitely helped in just making sure that SNG was on his heels.
For sure. It adds not so much to the pressure of her needing it, but that little extra layer of mental pressure just to wear away at SNG knowing she could pop it at any time to take it. That's rough. That is rough.
Especially when something like Pop or Clapback is very well known for doing high amounts of shield damage. If SNG had any shield, like even slightly weakened shield in that situation, if he had blocked for just that bit too long, then that Clapback rush could have taken him down pretty handedly.
But either way, it leads to my favorite situation in these events where we get to go to set 4, and SNG is mixing it up with Lollipop.
This is another character that we have seen SNG play with in the past. We've seen Lollipop in this tournament. We know what she's capable of. Shield movement, big dashes out of the shield if you press the dash button while she's guarding. And she's also capable of blocking in the air. A very wily and fast character that can be incredibly hard to catch. But you know what's good at catching a wily, fast character?
A table?
Tables are definitely very good options, but another option is Bubs. Something that just, there is like little to no time that you are invested in an action outside of jumps. As long as you're pressing the punch button, you're safe. Or that's what I would say,
absolutely.
except for these interesting traits that have actually worked out very well in SNG's favor.
Well, so, I mean, it's one thing whenever you're going into set 4 after 3 matches of your opponent playing the same character, and then they mix it up with just someone who plays wildly different, especially Lollipop, who really does not care about Cobra's shields or mobility because she is just as mobile.
Indeed, indeed. And SNG going to be able to capitalize on that, gets the KO. We are on match point here. SNG just needs one more win to be able to take this. Aya switching back to the Clapback Cobra to try to pressure him down. Boomerang might be a little scary against this Clapback though, as it can very easily swerve around, and its smaller size means that it's very rarely going to be hit by said Clapback.
And we just saw an excellent reminder of Lola's mobility. Just Aya popping that rush and SNG immediately bouncing out of the way to hit her out of it.
Ooh, catches SNG as he rolls into the trampoline. Could not bring out the shield in time, as Lola is one of the few that can shield in the air, but even then she's not that fast. Immediately knocked down and is sitting in critical. You would think that this would be a situation where SNG would be the one wanting to play defense, but Aya currently trying to play keep away with the last 35 seconds. Might even be considering a timeout, but with how these exchanges are going, SNG is definitely handling the close or this long distance combat far better than she is.
Well, it's a really interesting matchup that we get to see now that the trampoline is fully revealed. Because, I mean, Lollipop, she is the trampoline. Granted, not quite enough to go and dodge that last hit. But Aya, if there is anything that she does not want, it is to be up front, on or near that trampoline just because of how vulnerable it'll make her if she gets hit.
Indeed. Out comes the rush. Just bounced out of the way of that. It's just like, yeah, you could go ahead, press the rush button. I'm high in the air. It doesn't matter where you're aiming. You can't hit me from here. Camera angles. Aya currently at 34% health or so, 300 health. Not much to work with, but making an impressive comeback off of several good reads, several great catches,
Really
175
putting
damage.
that trampoline through the works. She heard what I said and did not care about any of it.
Out comes the rush. Aya trying to dodge out of the way. Could not bring out the shield in time. She had her moment, but she kept dashing.
And that is win number 3 for SNG to secure the set and move on further into the bracket. Very nice matchup. Very nice sets with both players there. That was so fun to watch. That was so enjoyable.
Indeed, it was. It was fantastically shown, fantastically played.